Welcome to the Booty Talk Podcast. Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is another episode of Booty Talk with I am your host, Bianca Adelia. Today, we are going to talk about some powerful exercises you can put into place to increase femininity. So what even made me start this obsession that I have with feminine energy and trying to balance my life in that way? After having my son, I kind of went into a dark depression. I lost my friends. I didn't really have the support of my family. I just felt very, very alone, and I did not handle that well. And my reaction to handling all of my problems was to completely harden up. I shut everyone out. I got very much into my ego and did what I needed to do to survive. And later on down the road, I just started to see very destructive patterns and felt even more alone. So I started digging into feminine energy, doing a lot of personal development, seeing what I can do to become a better person. And it led me to studying feminine energy. And so I'm really excited for you to be hopping on here with me because it shows me that you are actually looking for the same thing too. So welcome, and thank you so much again for joining me. So let's start off with what feminine energy is exactly. I feel like there is sort of a misunderstanding of what feminine energy is, and especially with all the movements going on, which I won't go into my opinion about any of those, but feminine energy actually does not mean looking more girly, and it's not gender specific. So men and women alike both need a balance of feminine and masculine energy. Both of us do. And feminine energy is not about competing with men, and it's not even about women empowerment. It's a very internal growth. It has nothing to do with being a certain way to compete. And again, it's equally as important as masculine energy to have. So let's look at some of the characteristics of feminine and masculine energy just to kind of get an idea of the characteristics that are involved with these energies. So with feminine energy, we associate that with inner strength, compassion, creativity. Feminine energy is very group oriented. So again, it's not competitive at all. It's very inclusive. It wants to include everyone. It wants everyone to be a part of what they're doing. Feminine energy is also very playful. In your feminine energy, you're very grounded and in tune with who you are. So you're able to not take yourself so seriously, and you can bring out that more playful side of yourself. The feminine energy is very powerful, like we continue to talk about in all of our episodes. The feminine energy is also very wise. It takes everything into consideration and takes time to kind of break everything down in her head and make sense of everything. Feminine energy is very honest. Feminine energy is flexible. So if something is not going her way, she's able to change the circumstances. Whatever she needs to do, she's able to be flexible in how she gets something done. And you can probably account for this, but feminine energy is very magnetic. So have you ever had a group of friends where you are kind of like, I really like hanging out with this person? Things of that nature. So feminine energy is very magnetic. It makes you feel calm, and it doesn't make you feel like anything is wrong. It gives you a sense of peace. To go into masculine characteristics, masculine characteristics are very action-oriented, so let's get this done. They're logical, so instead of thinking with their heart, like feminine energy, masculine energy thinks with the brain. And then masculine energy is a very live to survive kind of energy, like I was talking about in the beginning, where I was actually sitting. Masculine energy has a lot to do with physical strength, whereas feminine energy is inner strength. Masculine energy has a lot to do with ego. So it's very, can I do this? I can overcome this by myself kind of thing. It's competitive, and masculine energy is very impatient. So keep in mind when I'm talking about these characteristics, they're very, those are like the polar, the polar descriptions of each of those. So we're talking feminine all the way to 100% and then masculine all the way to 100%. So let's talk a little bit about the power of feminine energy. So feminine energy allows you to really get in touch with your intuition. This is so powerful because it lets you listen to your gut. It allows you to trust your gut because you understand how you feel and you trust how you feel. And so you're able to make really amazing decisions to better your life. Feminine energy is also very open to receiving. This is extremely important because this is where you kind of open yourself up to the universe, to receiving love, to receiving money, to receiving happiness or pleasure. So an openness to receive is very much a part of the feminine energy, and that's why it's so important for us to be in tune with her. The feminine energy also allows you to have a lot healthier relationships because you're going to take into consideration all the parts of a specific situation, and it's going to allow you to deal with situations healthier, which leads to those better relationships. And then, as we know, feminine energy is definitely where your sexiness and your attraction and your beauty comes from. So very, very powerful the feminine energy is. Let's talk a little bit about the behaviors of feminine energy. So with feminine energy, you know, she's a little bit slower. She's going to think about how she feels. She's going to live in the moment and she's going to enjoy every second of the day. Our feminine energy, she's very intuitive. So she listens to her gut and she does what feels right. She's going to be very collective. So she's going to consider all the people around her, and she's going to be very flexible like we talked about. So she's going to be very capable of changing plans in order to reach a certain outcome. The feminine energy is also where you get your sense to explore. So our feminine energy is our very creative outlet and gives us those curiosities to pursue different things and learn different things and grow. And she's also very much a part of our emotional selves. So she's very heartfelt and she thinks with her heart. Whereas the masculine energy is very fast. The masculine energy wants results and it wants to get things done. It's very logical. Whatever you're talking about, it needs to make sense. Very egocentric. So like I was saying before, like I can do this all by myself kind of ego. The masculine energy is going to be very rigid and stubborn in a sense and wants to stick to the plan, doesn't want to budge, doesn't want to change anything. This is the way we're supposed to do it. And so this is the way that it needs to be done. The masculine energy needs explanation. So the masculine energy wants to know all the steps, wants to know everything ahead of time. It needs like a whole plan written out down to like the nitty gritty of everything. And the masculine energy is going to be very rational. So whereas the feminine thinks with the heart, the masculine is very much a thinker with the brain. So what if you're already in tune with your feminine side, considering all the characteristics and the behaviors that we talked about? If you're very much in tune with your feminine energy, it may not be a good idea to try to gain more feminine energy. The power of feminine energy is amazing. Like, why wouldn't we want all of those characteristics? Why wouldn't we want to be completely in touch with our intuition, completely open to receiving all those healthier relationships, and that extreme like sexiness and attraction? And this is why. So if you are completely 100% all the way to the feminine energy, what's going to happen is, since the feminine energy is very giving and wants to include others and thinks about other people before she thinks about herself, what's going to happen is people are going to lose respect for you because you are too giving. People are going to start walking all over you. So it's very important to keep that masculine energy in place too. But on the other hand, If you are too in tune with your masculine energy, we know the masculine energy has a lot to do with strength and trust in its own ability. You're going to be way too stubborn and rigid, and no one's going to want to be around you. So this is where that balance really becomes important. So let's get down to the exercises you can start doing to increase femininity. And I'm going to break these down into 3 of the main characteristics of femininity that we talked about. So the first one we're going to talk about is a category of moving. So feminine energy is always moving, and it's changing, and it's always in motion. Like to picturesquely explain it, I would say, think about water. Water is always moving, and it's always doing something. It's shifting and it's changing. Feminine energy is just like that. So whenever you are, like I do, I am at my computer a lot. So the act of like not moving around, it forces you to engage more with your masculine energy. So if you find yourself at work, if you work in an office and you don't move around or anything, a great way to get out of that masculine energy where you might be feeling a little stuck, and move your body and move every part of your body, your arms, your hips. You can do dancing. Belly dance is amazing at getting you into your feminine energy. A lot of you know that I love hula hooping. I'm not a professional by any means, but I love it. It really allows me to step outside of my mind and get into my body. And, you know, it really increases my happiness and my energy levels. So get your body moving, do some yoga, take a walk outside. Those are things that you can do to start getting your body moving in a positive way that's really going to raise those endorphins. Another thing to do in the moving category is say goodbye to restricting outfits and pants. So feminine energy does not like to be boxed in. Have you ever been in a position where and this could totally not be about clothes. This could be talking about your life, where you felt where you didn't have a voice in a specific situation, or you felt boxed in, like you had no power over your life. And, you know, everywhere you turned, you felt like you couldn't move. That is the feminine energy crying out for you to get back in touch with her. So say goodbye to restricting outfits and pants. Wear something that's comfortable. Don't wear clothes that are too tight. I am such a fan of yoga pants. Love them. Leggings all day for me. But yeah, you can do that. Start wearing clothes that you feel good in and make you feel comfortable. Another thing to do to get your feminine energy moving is to create change in your life. Like we were talking about how feminine energy is always moving and it's always in motion. You want to do the same thing for your life. So change something up. If you feel stuck, engage in change. So maybe that means taking a course online. Maybe that means, let's see, I know Michael's does courses all the time. Like they have create flower baskets and, you know, just something. Michael's has classes you can do. I'm sure if you check into Facebook groups and in mommy groups, there's always something going on that you can get involved in to learn something new. Learning is very much a part of the feminine energy and will really get you feeling great. So maybe creating change in your life means starting an exercise class. Something that I do besides hula hooping is booty yoga. I'm very much a fan. I preach it a lot. I have a history with depression and anxiety, and it really allows me to step outside of that and get back in tune with myself. So booty yoga, B-U-T-I, yoga is something that I do. The courses that I actually purchase and follow are by Busy Gold. She's absolutely amazing. She has a history in Chinese medicine and some other stuff that has kind of infused tribal dance and yoga to get all those feminine energies moving in your body, and it works on, instead of working just on your abs or just on arms or anything like that, it uses more of a spiral technique. So it really gets all of that stuff, like where your negative energy may store at the lower of your back. It works on getting all of that out, all of that toxicity. There's also, if you go on YouTube, I've actually bookmarked quite a few. If you're interested in those, you can always reach out to me. Email me at photo@biancaadalia.com. I have a lot of belly dance videos saved for beginners, and I always feel better after I do some of those belly dance drills. So just search belly dance drills on YouTube. Get your hips moving. The hips moving is one of the greatest things you can do to get that feminine energy going and get all that toxicity out of your body. So moving on to the next category is our receiving category. So like I talked about, the feminine energy is very open to the universe. She is open to love and open to receiving pleasure and open to receiving money and open to receiving growth, all of those things. She really prioritizes the receiving aspect of herself. So something you can do to activate that receiving characteristic of your feminine energy would be to treat yourself a little bit more. Like, think of yourself, take a bath, use some aromatherapy oils, engage in massage. You know, I don't always. I don't take care of myself as much as I would like to. I am still working on it, you guys. But something that I do is I went to Walmart. I got one of those cheap little Conair foot spas. And every once in a while, I will engage in massaging my own feet. And I will, you know, get away all the dead skin and put my lotions on, paint my toes, or go get my nails done, things like that. So treat yourself a little bit more to activate that receiving part of the feminine energy. And try not to feel bad about it. We tend to feel guilty about letting ourselves feel good about receiving something. This is definitely something that I struggle with a lot. For example, like gifts. If people buy me gifts, I find it very hard to receive them and appreciate them, because somehow I have attributed to a place of I couldn't get it for myself. So I've made it negative. So I'm very much working on that receiving aspect of my feminine energy as well. Another recommendation they give for activating that receiving portion of your feminine energy is to journal. And this is not journaling and putting down all that negative stuff, like what happened today, and maybe crumpling it up and doing some kind of exercise like that. This is not about that. To activate that receiving part of the feminine energy, journaling is going to be a way for you to tell the universe what you want. So maybe you'll write down positive affirmations. What do you love about yourself? What do you want in life? Who do you want to be? This could be material possessions, like in the physical world. This can be, what kind of emotions do you want to feel? All of those kind of things. Write down all the great things that you want and allow the universe to start bringing them to you. Sounds silly, I know, you guys, but hang with me. This is so serious. I'm so serious about all of this. So, all right, the next one, you really want to open yourself up to sexual pleasure. Yes, girl, I just went there. So if you are somebody who thinks, you know, if you're engaging in sexual activity and your partner has, you know, had their pleasurable moments, and then you think that maybe there's no time for you to experience pleasure. So, you know, it's done at that point. That is putting you too much at the feminine energy, and you need to bring yourself back a little bit. So open yourself up to sexual pleasure. Prioritize communication with your partner. Let them know what is going to make you feel good. And you really want to exercise a level of vulnerability and trust here. And I know it's hard. So exercise that part of vulnerability and trust, and really open yourself up to allowing them and giving them the chance to give you what you want. And another thing is allow your partner to be masculine. Your partner needs that masculine part of the physicalness as well. So allow that to happen. So let's talk about the next category of feminine energy that you can activate. And that is the creative aspect. So in the creativity, this is going to be activating the exploring part of your feminine energy. So you really want to step outside of your comfort zone. So this is a little bit different than creating change in your life and maybe just taking a class or anything, but do something that you don't necessarily do, like make something new. Create a surrounding of feminine energy. So that can mean making new friends. And girl, I know that can be scary. I'm so much an introvert, it is not even funny. So doing something you're afraid to do, like going to a mommy meetup or a vendor event or something like that. Get outside of your comfort zone. Create a bouquet of flowers for yourself. Like, that might seem really weird to you. That definitely would have sounded weird to me a couple years ago. But do those little things, like make yourself a bouquet and put it in a part of the house where you want to open up the energy. Another thing you can do is decluttering the house and your wardrobe. So throw away some things that you have been hanging on to for a long time. This can even be planning a date night and making a delicious meal for your partner. This is really going to activate those creative parts, making something maybe you both have not had before. Definitely activating the moving part of feminine energy, the receiving part of feminine energy, and that creative part of your feminine energy are going to be the most impactful ways to access your feminine energy that is seriously going to enhance your lifestyle. I promise. So I would love to know what you took from this. Was this something that you were like, you know what, I definitely needed to hear that? I would love to hear any feedback that you have on this. You can always email me, photo@biancaadelia.com, or you can comment below right here in the podcast. I'd love to hear any feedback you have for me. And that's what I have for you today, ladies. I hope this was valuable to you, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye, ladies. Ladies, I've said this 1,000 times before, but again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for giving me your time. Be sure to join our tribe of mamas in our private Facebook group, Booty Talk. And if you love this episode, feel free to share it with your friends and subscribe. So until our next chat, I hope you remember how powerful you are. Stay fierce and stay wild.